McCartney's through, he might go for it, still going, trying to barge his way through, goes to the shot, what a goal!
Arriving, Rian O'Neill from an almost impossible angle, and that's the rousing score Armagh we're looking for.
Conor Turbin kicks this one in on it, absolutely superb.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Sideline A podcast. This is our All-Ireland football final preview show and we're looking ahead to Sunday's clash with two men who know all about the big occasion from each county. First up, we're going to hear from Justin McNulty, an All-Ireland winner with Armagh in 2002, and he's going to discuss the ins and outs of the game, the build-up to the game, and Kieran McGeeney's influence on this team. And we're also going to hear from Kevin Walsh from Galway. He's former Galway footballer and manager. He won 2 All-Irelands, playing for Galway in 98 and 2001, and managed them through sort of the revival period before Park Joyce took over. So we'll hear from Justin first, and then we'll hear from Kevin Walsh as well. Good to get to both perspectives on the game. We'll have our club preview show on our club roundup show, on Saturday morning. That's pretty much all our podcasts before the All-Ireland final, and we'll hopefully have something after it, and we'll hopefully be celebrating as well. So we'll hear from Justin first, and then we're going to hear from Kevin. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and hopefully have another podcast on Monday. So Justin, an All-Ireland final in a couple of days here. How's the excitement and the buzz and everything else with you?
Sean, how are you? It's reached fever pitch, Sean. It feels like everybody in Armagh is walking on water. Such is the level of excitement, such is the level of positivity. It is extraordinary. It's a fever pitch beyond belief. The frenzy for tickets is nuts, mayhem. I think there's going to be families falling out. It's going to be frenetic ahead of Sunday, and everyone wants to be at the match. And there's such a sense of goodwill, such a good of positivity, such a sense of hope. For Sunday, it's just phenomenal.
And obviously, just in the last time Armagh were here, you were a player, so you couldn't enjoy the build up, or it was certainly different. How are you enjoying it this time?
Totally shielded from the last time. Tried to cut ourselves off, hide away for a couple of weeks, and probably the build up was even longer. It was a 4-week gap in 2002, I think, between the semi-final and final. So the build up. The lead into this was only 2 weeks. It almost feels too short. You almost wish it was 4 weeks so you could even enjoy it more. So listen, hugely enjoyable period for all fans. I'm an Armagh fan first and foremost. Hugely excited for Geezer and his coaching and management team. Hugely excited for the players, and it almost feels like it's a 10-year overnight success, and hopefully it comes to fruition on Sunday, but there are no guarantees. The lads need to go out and perform and do everything they can in their power to gild the line at the end of the 80 minutes or the end of 100 minutes or after a replay, whatever it takes.
And just on Kieran McGeeney, I'm sure you're delighted for him. I know you're a former club and county colleague of his, and you were part of the management team during his time in Armagh as well. I'm sure you're just delighted for him that he's got this far, and I know there's one more step to take, but to get this Armagh team to an All-Ireland final, it's a big achievement in itself.
It's extraordinary, and thrilled for Geezer, because he's had so many detractors and naysayers and people out for him, and for him to have kept his composure, to have stuck with it, and kept demanding more of himself, more of the people around him, more of the players, and for him to have the dressing room, to still have the dressing room after 10 years, is testament to the character that he is. And the players deserve enormous credit in that. They've played a major part in getting to this point. Despite the setbacks that they have experienced, they've kept going, they've kept coming back, kept bouncing back with huge pain of huge defeats in big games. And to go over the line against Kerry, they'll take huge confidence from that, but they know this is a big test for them. Galway are have serious firepower in all positions, serious quality, and good strong squad as well. Well coached, well managed, well structured, well organised, and it's a knife edge game, too hard to call. But thrilled for Geezer, having, I'm very honoured to say he's one of my best friends, and wishing him well, hoping him well. And I know that he'll be leaving no stone unturned in terms of getting the best performance possible he can get from his players.
And on the other side, Justin, you probably come up against Park Joyce a good few times during your playing days as well. How was he as a player? How did you find him? And I suppose, how would you rate the job he's done in Galway as well?
I'd rate him as one of the best players ever to play the game. What a left foot he had, and what a capacity he had to get big scores, big moments in big games. And he's obviously a leader. He's a leader as a player, and he's a leader as a coach and manager. He's brought in a good, strong management team and coaching team around him. And Cian O'Neill is exceptional coach, and Sean and Divilly as well, John Divilly. They're obviously former colleagues. Geezer and Park would have worked at MCR in Dublin back in the day, back during the Celtic Tiger days. They know each other well. They know each other well as players. They know each other well as coaches and managers. They've come up against each other so many times in recent years. There's been nip and tuck, nothing else. The game's decided after penalties, after extra time. So this game is on a knife edge. I rate Park Joyce very highly. I rate Kieran McGinney very highly. It makes this game so fascinating, the contest. And for the neutral, and for all GAA fans, for Armagh fans, and for Galway fans, I think the staleness of Kerry Dublin finals is gone. The new pairing creates a whole new dimension, a whole new level of excitement, and it's going to be immensely colourful day. The orange of Armagh and Croke Park brings a special atmosphere on its own, and the fanatical fans that Armagh have, it's going to be just fever pitch, wonderful experience for everybody involved, players, fans, coaches, staff alike.
And given the recent history between the teams, Justin, you touched on it there. Obviously, with Armagh and Galway met 2 years ago in the quarterfinal. Galway won on penalties. They met last year in the championship. Armagh won by a point, and they drew this year. So it's going on recent history. This game's going to go right down to the wire. And I know at the start you mentioned a replay. It could well pan out that way.
Yes, I think Sean, this game's too tough to call. It's on a knife edge. It's going to be dictated by small margins, tight margins, tight margins, tight margins. And probably the safest call here is extra time replay. Given how close the teams are matched, it's going to go down to small margins, as I said. The kick-out battle, the turnovers battle, the potency up front battle, and I think a very telling statistic this weekend might be the score by free concession rate for both teams. The discipline around tackling and defence has to be focused for both coaching teams, and probably could potentially dictate the outcome.
How impressed have you been with both defences, Justin? Because I know Armagh obviously conceded a goal against Kerry the last day, but they've been keeping a lot of clean sheets. Galway the same. They haven't conceded a goal only against Armagh in the championship. So both defences have been on top this year.
Yeah, I think that's testament to it's credit to the coaching teams. I know Kieran McKeever has played a big role in that. Brookie and Armagh, his defensive coaching prowess is second to none. He was an extraordinary defender in his own right in his own day. And when it was one-on-one battles, now it's much more structured, much more zonal, and much more organised and orchestrated around defence. So it's not down to necessarily matchups. It's down to the system. And he has put in place a very effective system, which keeps goals out. Which when you limit the number of goals you're seeing, you makes yourself so much more competitive. Likewise, Galway are very defensively tough, and structured and organised. Makes for a fascinating battle, and how each defence is able to limit the scoring prowess of each attack makes it so exciting and so mouth-watering a contest in store.
And I think the fact that the systems are so important, Justin, but the one-on-one battles are going to be key as well. And I suppose Barry McCambridge is likely to pick up Shane Walsh, and he's been super this year, hasn't he? He scored 2-2 the last 2 games, and obviously picked up David Clifford and probably won that duel the last day. So McCambridge, I imagine, will go on Shane Walsh. We don't quite know yet, but that's probably the matchup we're going to see.
Yeah, I think Brian McCambridge deserves enormous credit. Where did he come from? It's extraordinary to see his descent and see the impact he's made, and to see how important he's become as a defensive player from an attacking perspective. I think Shane Walsh, you can't go rely on a one-on-one matchup for him. He needs help on defense for his assignments. Barry can't be left in that role individually. It's going to come from a systems effort there to try and limit the potency of Shane Walsh. As for Comer on his day is unmarkable, even though he doesn't seem to be firing in all gears because of the injury niggles he's had. But if he has got himself right, he's going to need serious attention. Obviously, McKay is outrightly a fantastic full back, but he needs help in terms of minimising the threat posed by Comer. So those are two critical matchups. But that's once you try and limit their damage from those two, then you have a series of ball players from Galway who can do you serious harm. And likewise, it is the same for Armagh. That's what makes this contest so fascinating. There's so much strength and depth from both sides. Not alone on the first starting 15, from a starting 15 perspective, from a squad perspective, there's a huge strength and depth. And it almost feels like when they bring in subs, they're making the team stronger as opposed to taking away from them.
And on the subs, Justin, just before I get a prediction for you, Armagh probably hold the upper hand on the subs. I think that's fair to say, and they've had a huge impact in all the championship games this year. Soupy, Oisin O'Neill, Ross McQuillan, Jason Duffy, Aidan Nugent. There's a list of players, Charlie O'Burns as well, that could argue that they could get on any team in the country, but they're substitutes for Armagh, and they're making a huge impact when they are coming in.
Yeah, listen, Geezer deserves enormous credit. Geezer and his coaching team deserve enormous credit for building that squad over so many years. Whereby, as I say, when they make those introductions, it's almost like they're enhancing the team as opposed to taking away from it. Those guys, those players deserve enormous credit for not throwing the head up, being team oriented, being about what's best for the team, and understanding they have a role to play, whether that is starting as a starter or as a finisher. They know they have an important role to play, and even the likes of Aidan Nugent who came on last day, things didn't go according to plan for him, and he was substituted, and he was able to demonstrate his character by showing his support and positivity for the player coming in, which I think is a huge indicator of the environment, the culture that's been built around this team, and hopefully can help them heal the line. Whether that be after this Sunday, as I said, I think it's too close to call for Sunday. I think it's most likely going to go all the way to the wire for the 80 minutes of normal time and probably 100 minutes of extra time and still draw a game. Not extra time, then replay. We'd love to see a replay. There should have been a replay last Sunday. We'd love to get 2 days of an Iron final in Armagh, Galway. Wouldn't it be fantastic?
I was going to ask you for your prediction, Justin, but I think that's what you're going to go for here. Is it a draw and then hopefully an Armagh win in the replay?
Armagh win the replay after extra time.
Yeah, we'll definitely take that as long as it doesn't go all the way to penalties. We'll take an extra time win. Justin, brilliant to have you on. Thanks very much for giving us your thoughts, and hopefully I get seeing you either in Croke Park or the Carrickdale, and we'll be celebrating this Sunday. We'll take it this Sunday. We don't have to wait another 2 weeks. So Kevin, great to hear from you. How's everything in Galway ahead of the Ireland final?
Good, Sean. Yeah, the colours starting to move and loads of talk and tickets gone mad. So yeah, look at massive interest.
I wouldn't say you're used to it, obviously, but you've experienced it in 2022 as well, Kevin. So it's maybe not as new as it is in Armagh here.
Yeah, look, 2022. I suppose that's probably one plus, I suppose, for Galway having to go through all that at the time and have the experience. All these players have the experience of doing that, and it's probably it is a plus. It's something that probably would be hoping would stand to Galway. I think even having fought hard for all that game and could have actually won that game would give massive a plus. Knowing that they've been through it, and even the preparation for buses, and do you stay overnight or not overnight? Do you be going through stuff again on the Saturday before the Sunday? Those have been through that. I'm sure they look back on the preparation and say, well, we should stop this, maybe we should start this, and maybe continue this. So they can look at to see exactly what worked and didn't work.
I suppose that game was against Kerry, Kevin, obviously in 2022, and I've no doubt Galway believed they were going to win it, and they were very close to doing it. But the fact that it's Armagh and Galway, I think both teams, it's probably exciting for both teams, but for the neutral as well, that there's going to be a new winner on the cup.
Yeah, and I think definitely in Galway. I can't talk for Armagh, but I'm sure it's the same. There's a belief, a full belief that they can win this. With Kerry, it's always, will Kerry are there, will you beat Kerry type of thing. But I think there's a full belief in Galway, and from talking to a few Armagh guys here today, there's a full belief in Armagh as well. So look at it, it's an open final, and I don't care what experts we talked on this. You just look back over the last 3 years. You've 2 draws and a 1 point win. that's what you have. So, what has changed massively to say that this is going to be an 8-point win for somebody? I just think it's going to be really, really close.
I think that's what makes it so exciting too, Kevin, is the fact that the two teams have built up that wee bit of a rivalry in the last 3 years, and as you say, it's been nip and tuck.
Yeah, and I think look, it was a lot maybe made of the bit of a brawl there, after the full time in the match 2 years ago. But I don't think we've seen too much of that in the last 2 games. It is, it's been aggressive and hard fought and everything else, but I don't think that thing had carried on from the quarterfinal of 2022. So, but look, it'll be aggressive. It'll be hard hitting, big men, big players, and very good individual players on each side as well.
Just on them recent battles, Kevin, the 2022 game and this year as well, Galway were the better team for, until the last 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe Armagh got a couple of goals in 2022, and the same this year. They got a goal to bring them back into the game. That's probably filling Galway with confidence that they have been ahead of Armagh with 10 or 15 minutes left, but they just need to see it out this time if they're going to win some.
That's it, yeah. And to be fair, I think, Sean, even that game in Sligo this year, I think Galway look back on that and have been 13-8 up. Will say that they actually controlled that whole game, particularly against the Wayne in the first half. I think it was 8-6 at half time or something like that. And obviously with 13-8 up. And I suppose that they will look back at that and say, look, we can win this match because of this and because of the games you spoke about. But on the other hand, they'll have to say, well, look, what did we learn from that in game management? Because, they gave away 1-1, like a shot against Armagh in that game, and then ended up hanging on. So, that's something that will be a massive learning curve for Galway. They should stand to them. But then what will Armagh have learned? I think if Armagh look back on it, if they're genuine in their analysis of it, they'll say, hold on, Galway did control this game for long periods, but why was that? So as a team, what do we need to stop? What do we need to start? And what do we need to continue? So they will look at that big time, I suppose, in that, Sean. And, so there's massive learnings for both teams there. So can Armagh get into the game earlier and control the game? And can Galway manage the game better if they do what they've done in the past?
And obviously goals are going to be so important here, Kevin. That one against Galway in Sligo, as you spoke about, that Tiernan Kelly turned the game. On that's the only Galway goal they've conceded this year. On Armagh, they've only conceded 3 in the championship as well. So they're going to be so important come Sunday.
Yeah, goals are very hard to come by. I suppose if Armagh look at if they're to look at we'll say the Donegal press against Galway in the semi-final, the man-to-man press they done in the first half in particular. Croke Park is a different pitch. Man-to-man is very difficult to stop getting the kick out. So it'd be interesting to see if Armagh press at all, or can they do a zonal press, which puts massive pressure on a keeper and players, because the zone works, I think, far better on a bigger pitch. So that'd be really interesting to see. Or do Armagh step off? Now I know with Cork we played Armagh in the league, and a few things that did stand out was that Armagh had very good kickers from distance, including their half back line, and so that Galway will have to press out in those kicks. Albeit I think they had 6 wides against Galway in the first half of the championship match, but it was standing out at that point that they were at very, very high conversion rates. If they get back those conversion rates and Galway allowed them to shoot it from, that could cause a problem for Galway. But look, it'll be really, really interesting to see what happens. But kickouts are going to be very important.
Yeah, on the kickouts, Kevin, you're a good man to be talking about it. You played in midfield, and you had mentioned earlier just about the big bodies that are going to be around that sort of middle 8 area this weekend. Galway obviously have some huge men like Conroy, Maher, McDade, and around there Tierney. Armagh the same with Grimley, Creeley, Rian O'Neill. There's a few huge men out there. So the midfield battle, if both sides decide to go long in their kickouts, we could be in for a treat.
You'll be, and Keane Darcy's there as well. Another big 6'4" man out there. So huge men out there. But again, I suppose it all depends on that. If I said to you, if it's zonal or man to man, because what happens when you have a lot of big guys like that, if the ball is broken, it'll come down to a ground battle. And I suppose who has the heart for that, or who has the aggression levels for that on the breaking ball. But look at that, that may not become an issue for too long in the match if both teams drop off. And both teams have dropped off quite a lot. I don't think Galway pressed Donegal at all in the semi-final. While Armagh, I think, pressed Kerry a little bit. So look, it all depends on how they'll analyse each other. Where's the threats? Where's the weaknesses? And they'll go from there. What space do they need to take? Where do they need to make it? But look at God knows what's going through their minds, and they're also going to have, who takes up different people. Does Silk take up Turbot? Does he take up O'Neill? Does Fitzgerald come up with the full back line, go after O'Neill and leave Silk inside? There's loads of questions on that, so it'll be interesting. Or will they just take them as if they drop off the kickouts? Will they just take them as a zonal defence? And I think Galway go zonal in the areas where Armagh go a bit more man when they're back in their zone defence. So that leaves an opportunity for pockets, for pop passes inside. So look, it'll be interesting to see how the kickouts are pushed by both teams.
And on the Galway defence, Kevin, obviously Sean Kelly missed out the last day through injury, and I think Park Joyce said during the week that there's a chance he'll be back, hopefully from a Galway perspective. How big an addition will he be, Kevin, whether starting the game and off the bench? And if he's not there, how big of a miss will he be?
Look, a player of his quality, whether he's on the bench or starting, is massive. I suppose what Borg will have to look at is, well, they've had the results going forward fairly well at the minute. Does he upset that a little bit, or where does he play Sean if he plays him? And he's been named midfield lots of times. Not so sure the impact he's making midfield. Where I think he likes to come from the backside of the defense, from in behind them. We'll say more than being out stuck in the middle and coming backwards with passes, because his ability to come from deep is savage, and his ability to go all the time at 90 miles an hour is, he doesn't let up on that, and that's probably his biggest attribute. And then his ability for good decision making is high. But I suppose, do you hold him on the bench for that, or how fit is he, and who loses out if he comes in? So there's, but the big thing for Galway is to have him available, that when needed, or if he starts, that he's in the area that he can give his best shot.
And just before I let you go, Kevin, just ask you about Damien Comer as well. Obviously has been injured nearly all year, and I think maybe he's still not at full fitness. He had a big influence against Dublin, but didn't score on the last day. Didn't score, but he's still a huge threat in that full forward line for Galway. Yeah,
he is, and look, he's going to draw attention of 2 or 3 people at different times. May not be up fitness wise where he'd like to be. But again, even when he is fully fit, that's the way he plays. He plays in spurts. But look, I think he was the only player that Galway, they actually were missing him in Markfitch Park, which was another tool that I may have to deal with now. They didn't deal with in Markfitch Park in the knockout games, the group games. But then will they see that as an opportunity if he starts and isn't fully fit? Will they, go to town and go down the way and make him follow? So if Damien has to follow too much, that doesn't play into his game plan either. So they'll be looking at both sides of this to say, well, we have another weapon to mind, but can we take an advantage if someone else loses out and Damien plays? But look, ideally from Galway point of view, you'd love to get your Damien Comer, your Shane Walsh, your big names hitting it all on the one day. But I think that's down to a lot how the opposition plays. If it's very zonal and defensive, will Shane Walsh get the space to do what he can do if he has open space? And how much of an impact does he make then, vice versa for Damien,
And Kevin, just before I let you go, I'll ask you for your prediction. Who do you? I had Morris Brosnan on the show last week, and he said a draw. And Josh McNulty on, he said a draw. So how do you see it going?
Look, if you were to go, as I said early on, Sean, it's been 2 draws and a point win. So that would automatically almost tell you this is going to be a draw. The only thing I think on this is Galway's experience in 2022, even the build-up and all of that. I think this is made for them at the minute. I'm saying that as a Galway person, but I'm also saying as just looking from the outside in, hoping that they can take that advantage with them. They have also players who have won 3 of their provincials in a row, where Armagh haven't won a provincial yet. And again, that's maybe monkey off the back. But then again, Armagh haven't been beaten in game time for over 2 years, which is a massive achievement as well. So it's been on penalties that they've lost out. So, but I just think there's a slight advantage there, But you know what? This will probably come down to whose efficiency shooting is the best on the day. If that's massive, and maybe the least amount of silly turnovers, because silly turnovers, in particular field defensive, will hit you on the counter attack and they make you pay. So, that's 2 big things that have a big bearing on it.
Good stuff, Kevin. We'll look forward to a good game anyway. And you're coming up to the Carrickdale on Thursday night, so I'll get chatting to you again there. Thanks very much for coming on and giving us your thoughts.
Love you, Sean.
Hurls through, he might go for it, still going, trying to barge his way through, goes to the shot, what a goal!
Diving Rian O'Neill from an almost impossible angle, and that's the rousing score Armagh were looking for.
Conor Turbot kicks this one in on an